All right, so I decided to address the must be accepted challenging personality. Um, and the topic I picked was the last one, Appendix 7, that dealt with the adult AD and the must be accepted CP. And some of the main problems I found in there were that the CP, one of my biggest problems was that when he said, we had 3 soccer matches and a softball game rained out last week. I couldn't get the same officials for the rescheduled dates. West plays Memorial in a big soccer game, and the Memorial coach is mad at me because I hired some officials that says he let too much go. And then he states, I don't even know what that means. So in this situation, refs change all the time. There's going to be refs that coaches don't like, no matter what school is playing. You see it in high school, you see it in college, you see it in anything. So one thing I think he needs to actually know in this situation is that you are never going to make every single person happy. As much as you like to try and you feel like you need the acceptance, which looking at what the must be accepted personality wants is they want to please everybody. They seek affirmation, kindness, caring, and they allow interaction between other people that don't do their job. So this is what's happening here is he's allowing the West Memorial coach to affect his mindset in him doing his job, which will in turn screw up how he's able to do his job if he makes the scheduling dates on time, or if he even doesn't get one scheduled because he's too worried about what ref or what umpire will make that coach happy. So looking back down here a little bit more, the next issue he had was, I've got 3 baseball umpires who are calling me looking for their checks from 2 weeks ago. My records show that the checks went to the schools on Monday of that week. The games were on Thursday. So the AD then proceeds to ask, are those 2 schools that have non-staff coaches? Then the CP goes, yes, I don't think they even check their mailboxes. So that's assumption. So if they're non-school coaches, so they probably don't check their mailboxes that often if they don't work at the school. So that is something where you do need to go to your AD. If you're the assistant, if you're a CP, that's something you take to your AD instead of worrying it and placing all that stress on yourself. This says, I'll call the school, and if the checks are there, I'll get the schools to call the umpires and mail them out. If not, I'll get the payroll offices to cancel the checks and issue new ones. Simple as that. The AD handled it very simply, easy to handle. Instead of the CP trying to take everything on himself, the AD in that situation does need to reaffirm the CP that this is going to happen. This will happen. It's money. People get worried about money. They're concerned about money. And if they are working a game where the 2 coaches are not employed at the school, the checks won't get mailed out as quick. And coming from an umpire, not that you should know that, but maybe that is something you should bring up to an umpire before they ref that game, that your check could take a little bit longer. So basically, whenever I was reading this and it said managing a must be accepted behavior, I do like a couple of the points I brought up where it says bring issues out in the open, but do so with gentle tact. So be nice about it. A must be accepted personality doesn't want you yelling at them, doesn't want you jumping down their throat. They want you to kind of assist them through the hard things that they don't understand. It says make honesty non-threatening. So when you are talking to them, do it behind closed doors. Do it so nobody else knows. A must-be-accepted personality will not want to be yelled at or not talked to in front of the rest of the staff. They will want to be in closed doors, privately learning what they should and shouldn't do. It says be personal whenever possible. Find some aspect of their work to compliment. So, like in this example where he did come to the AD and ask this question about the checks, tell him that is the right thing to do. Tell him or her that that is the right thing you should do in that situation, that you should come to me instead of worrying about it yourself. I will help you. I will tell you either how we can solve this together or I can solve it on my own if I'm the AD. Last it says listen and be patient. Let him tell you all his problems and then start one by honestly addressing every single problem the CP CP can't comprehend or deal with. So, and then basically, if the CP, the must be accepted CP, does have some type of frustration or inadequacy, then it's going to lead to fear, anxiety, guilt, anger, resentment, depression. And we don't want that. We want to work with the CP. He may be challenging, but the must be accepted CP is probably the one that I feel like is most workable with to turn around. I think that they do have a lot of potential, especially since they do want to please everybody, but I think they have to realize in what aspects of their job they can please everybody, and then maybe try a little harder in those aspects, but then cut down on their trying to please everybody and the aspects where you're not going to please everybody, like finding umpires or coaches or umpires or referees for certain coaches. Like it's never going to happen. And personally, knowing that from scheduling our volleyball referees in college whenever I was working at Iowa Lakes, never going to happen. There's always going to be a basketball referee that your coach at your school even doesn't like. And it just happens that way because that's the only one that's available. And by even putting those into more real-life terms, the AD can help that CP out. And the CP, I feel like, eventually will learn that, okay, I can't please everybody, but I'm going to try and maybe take a step back, think about how I can please the most people, and then go from there. And I think as a staff, we should definitely work all together in helping this person, but definitely the AD, that is your responsibility. If you hired that person and they have that trait, that you need to work to get to the bottom of it and solve that situation.